Communicating when he can't get it up. All right, y'all. Today we're going to discuss a sensitive, serious issue. How do you communicate with your partner when they have erectile dysfunction? Now, many times this happens when you're over 40 guys who have not taken care of themselves, or maybe they have medication. Number of reasons why this happens, but how you approach it can and will determine the health of your relationship. So let me tell you about one of my clients who said to me, Coach, you know what? I just told him, I said, listen, you're not satisfying me. You need to go fix this. You need to go to the doctor. And ultimately, she did not communicate it properly. Now, what happened? She said that a few months later, she noticed that he began to withdraw from her, and that ultimately 8 months later, he ended the relationship. And she wanted to know what happened. I explained to her that she actually hurt him deeply. I explained to her that she wasn't a safe place in a very sensitive, serious issue of something that was going on with him, and she didn't understand it. Now, I began to explain to her, number one, what is ED, aka erectile dysfunction? It is when, number one, a man has the inability to achieve an erection. Or, number two, they have the inability to sustain an erection after they achieve it. They can't sustain it long enough for a satisfactory, successful sexual performance. Or, number three, the inability to ejaculate on a consistent basis. Now, first of all, let's talk about why this topic is so important and why you have to take care. Be very careful about it, because men look at their sexual prowess, their sexual virility as a part of their manhood. Now, you got to understand this. A man knows when his body is not acting the way it used to. He knows when he can't do the things that he used to do. Now, there are a lot of emotional things that go with this, and this is why you have to understand why you have to take care in handling this. Number one, there might be some guilt, okay, around it. There may be shame because I can't do what I used to be able to do, or the feeling of inadequacy. And then there's fear. Fear that if I try to have sex with my partner, if I try to be intimate with my partner, it just won't work. So what do? I just simply avoid it. Now, this video is about what to do. How do you communicate with the person that has ED? Now, I'm going to go into this video. I'm not going to talk about all of the physical reasons, the emotional reasons, or things why they might have it. I'm just going to talk to you about how do you communicate about it. It is a problem that many men have. Think about this. You might be, okay, if you're over 50, do you know 25% of men from 50 to 59 have ED? And let's say, and let alone when you get to 60, 40% of men at the age of 60 years old, they have ED. And so it is not uncommon. So now let's talk about how do you communicate with your partner about a sensitive, serious issue like this? First thing you got to understand, you've got to be willing to communicate. You got to be willing to say what's on your heart, say what you're feeling. You have to, but it's how you do it. How you approach this will have a lasting effect on your relationship, good or bad. So let's jump into how you do it. First thing I want you to do is find a safe place, catch him when he's not busy, and number one, ask his permission to speak. Why do you ask his permission? Then he knows you have something serious to say and to set aside the time mentally and emotionally for it. You don't want to get him while he's busy doing something else. Number two, tell him that we're on the same team. You always tell a person where you want to go. We're on the same team. I want to create a safe space. That's why I wanted to approach you about something. All right. Give him the space to say, okay, I want to do that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you've never communicated this way before with him, he might think it's super strange that you're talking like this. But what you want to do is you want to definitely say, hey, we're on the same team. I love it that we can talk about serious issues. Second thing, number 3, you start by using what we call I language. I language is different than you language. I language is not accusatory. I language doesn't mean you attack a person. It says, hey, I notice that when we make love, when we're intimate, here's what happens. And then what you say is, I notice. Then you come back after you talk about what you notice. Then you say, I feel we're not as intimate as we once were. I feel like this situation is causing us not to be in a place where we want to. I feel concerned that our intimate life isn't what it used to be. And then once you say that, you say, I would like to discuss this. What you've done is created a framework so the other person doesn't believe that you are attacking them. It's a safe space. And then what you want to do, the next step is you ask them their thoughts. You give them a chance to speak and you just get quiet. You get quiet. And what you do, step 5, the next step is you listen actively. Now, what is listening actively? You get present in the moment. You focus on your body. You lean in to them. You making eye contact. The other person knows that you're actively listening to them. What else is active listening? You begin asking clarifying questions. Okay, do you mean this when you say this? Do you mean that when you say that? What the person is saying, I just want to help. And then you summarize what you've heard the person say. Now, once you get the person engaged, now it's time for you, next step, to focus on a potential solution. See, the truth is, a lot of times when people think it's you against them, we discuss issues, sensitive issues, then it becomes you against them. But when you do it, communicate the way that I'm telling you, it becomes both of you against the problem. And when it's both of us against the problem, people feel free to discuss potential solutions. The next thing I want you to do is simply this: reassure your partner, I'm on your side. Reassure your partner, I'm here to help you get through this. Reassure them that we can put this together. We can solve this problem together. We can make it work together. Y'all listen, there are going to be some issues inside of a relationship that are going to be sensitive. There are going to be some serious issues that we have to be willing to communicate. We have to be willing to get outside our comfort zone. And believe me, erectile dysfunction, as we get older, as we grow in age, as we grow together as a couple, we've got to be willing to tackle those hard situations. But you've got to know how to communicate through them so that the other person always knows that it's us against the problem, us against the challenge, us against the situation. I'll see you in the next one.